Welcome to Foster Career Experience, a podcast featuring interviews with people who've had experience with the foster care system, about their lives, their career journeys, and their stories of navigating the workplace. We all bring unique histories with us in our jobs, and by understanding each other's experiences, we can make the workplace better for everyone. Today's episode features Chelsea, a millennial college student who works in social services.
I don't know if you can see my calendar, but I don't like writing in just black. So everything's like in different colors and it's like motivationals. And yeah, I think the more color you can add in your day, it's really hard to have a really bad day.
Chelsea's shiny personality bubbles through the Zoom screen.
I think that's one of my strong suits during the whole time too, is I always knew how to be optimistic.
Yeah.
And then I knew how to be upset, like, alone. Like, I didn't show people that. I think that's why it was harder to figure out who I was, because I felt like I was just putting on mask after mask.
Chelsea is currently working 2 part-time jobs while attending school full-time as a social work student.
It's been a roller coaster. I'm just going to be honest. I started out believing that I didn't have what it took to be in college and that I was never going to be good enough for college.
Chelsea was homeschooled by her adoptive parents, who chose a GED as Chelsea's path to high school completion. After high school, Chelsea worked 2 to 3 jobs while living at her adoptive parents' home. She was the oldest of 6 kids and was given the responsibility to mother her siblings. She would wake up, get her autistic brother ready for the school bus, and be at work by 6 a.m. Chelsea worked for a family-owned pool company, and during the peak season, she would work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., riding to each property in the company car with the other employees.
I would go to work, come home, and then I would help either make dinner or finish dinner, whichever, depending on the time. And then my mom would clock out, and I would be in charge of everybody, make sure the house is clean, all the chores were done. If they didn't do their chores, I had to do them, put them all to bed, make sure they're all bathed. Like, it was like I had children, but I didn't have children. I did that, for 3 years, or for, up until about 2015. Mm-hmm. And then there was just one day my mom, it was like, you don't do anything for the family. You were never home. I think especially if you have somewhere to live. And, I still paid my way. I paid my parents rent to live there. I didn't have any allowance. So I did everything because that was like your job as the older sibling. And so paid my own phone bill. I paid my dad for his car. So the car was paid off, all of that stuff. And then I got essentially kicked out.
It was a painful year between when Chelsea was kicked out of her home and when she started college. She stayed with different friends and did a lot of self-examination and exploration.
I thought by me leaving, my parents' house, that it was like, oh, I'm really going to find who I was. But it made it worse, because then it was like, I went through the whole, like, well, my biological mom didn't even want me, because if she did, she wouldn't have failed every drug test, And now my adoptive parents don't even want me. So it's like, that's a 2 for 2. Like, so in my head, it created a lot of doubt, a lot of, am I really capable of doing something? Mm-hmm. Am I capable of being loved? Am I, or am I the problem? Because my mom and dad have always told me, you're only going to be good enough to be a daycare worker or a nanny and a mom. Like, you're not going to be able to go to college. You're not smart enough for it. If my parents are saying that, then it's probably true, because they know more than I do.
It took the support of her now husband to change some of the false beliefs that Chelsea had about herself. He also convinced Chelsea to go to college, which she attributes to helping find herself.
And that really helped. So having him as like the support system, I've learned to be independent, and I've learned to be self-sufficient and rely on myself, because, if I let myself down, I'm kicking myself for it. If somebody else lets me down, it was more of like, you're ripping my heart out kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so it's amazing knowing that I have somebody who cares about me and who wants nothing but the best, and, wants to laugh and enjoy life with me. But in the hard times, I've had to really learn to lean on him and to like let him be there. But it's the fact of knowing that, yes, you don't need help with this, but you should take the help that's offered.
As a social work major, Chelsea has unlocked layers of healing that she didn't expect to find in her studies.
And I stumbled upon like a few articles of imposter syndrome was a big one. And then it was, what was it? There was another one, and I'm like, oh, wait, that sounds like me. When I started doing a lot of research on like aftershock of foster care, I'm like, okay, so I'm pretty normal. And I'm not a normal person, but I felt normal finally.
Chelsea also learned more about the policies that affected her as a child. She understands now why she wasn't able to be in the same foster home as her brother. Chelsea was placed in a home with all girls, so a boy could not be placed there. And her brother was also considered a leveled placement, which she was not, which made it a lot more challenging to place them together. She also better understands the termination of her parents' rights. Her mom had to sign over her rights completely, or else they would have been terminated by the court. But her dad only signed over his rights to her foster family, which is different.
Something was to happen to my, the family fell through, or I got put back in foster care for whatever reason, he automatically gained his rights back and he could then take me. But it wasn't, I'm now in contact with my dad, and he's nothing like my mom said he was. I had to go through the whole, I feel like I wasted years of hating him because I didn't know.
As Chelsea is learning more about herself, she's also learning more about what she wants in a job.
I feel like I'm better about it now, but before, work was like everything. And I think it was because I didn't get out of the house enough. And so I was always excited to go to work. Yeah. And I always put work first over everything. It didn't matter what was going on. It was like, if I have work, I have work. And, but I also felt the need to be 100 and 200% better than anybody else, because I felt like I had to prove that I was worthy to have the job. And at that, be recognized with anybody.
Now, she feels comfortable setting boundaries and telling work that her family comes first. And while she's ready to put her family first, Chelsea also values having strong, positive relationships with her colleagues.
I think that when you work and you work to with your friends and with a family environment, you create that. I feel like your job just goes out the roof amazing. When my manager or supervisor, whoever is, telling me I'm doing a good job, that means more to me than anything else. I think I perform a lot better knowing that my manager and I are on the same page. And that we genuinely care about each other, because I am a people person. I care about people that I don't even know.
When Chelsea got into a car accident, her manager told her to rest and to not come into work that week.
Hearing her say that was big, just because I'm constantly feeling guilty of, oh, I should have been there. Oh, I should have done this, and oh, I should have done that. But then, even when I said, no, I have to go to this, I want to make this point, she's like, okay, well, here's your restrictions on this, and I'm not getting workers' comp or anything like that. It was just she genuinely cared about me enough to where she was like,
The next big step for Chelsea's career is to graduate with her bachelor's degree this spring.
I'm really excited to graduate because when I graduated high school, we never made a big deal about it. My mom's like, okay, cool, you graduated kind of thing. So I didn't have graduation pictures. I didn't have graduation party, none of that. And so my husband's done nothing but talk about, we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna go really big.
Chelsea's husband is good at going big for celebrations to make them as fun and as colorful as Chelsea is.
I think for my 25th birthday? No. I think 23rd or 24th. My boyfriend was amazing, or my husband now, whatever. But he did something that I really wanted, and when I saw it, I almost cried, because he made a paint slip and slide for me for my birthday, And so he went and bought shirts for all, like white shirts for all of us. And we got to put paint all over this huge tarp with like some water. So it all mixed together. And so we went slip and slide and like paint. And it was like the best thing ever. Like, this is what I wanted to do.
Chelsea knows that her graduation is worth celebrating. And she knows that she either has or can find the resources that she needs to reach her goals.
And I've had people in like important people in my life say, well, you're not going to amount to anything. You're going to be a daycare worker or a nanny, and then you're going to be a mom. And that's all you're going to be good at. And, you know, I'm showing everybody that, you know, no, I'm made for more, because I know that I am. I think everybody is made for more. Even if that means you need to be your own support system until you can find people to get in your corner. I could have given up a long time ago when college wasn't working out. But instead I decided, okay, this isn't working. I need to figure something out. And then I sought out help. So when I finally listened to my advisor and did what she recommended, then I started succeeding. But I had to take off my, you know, my know-it-all cap and put on my teachable hat. So, and I'm the one that likes to find the small things. What I found that helps me is every day, if I'm having a really bad day, I do it more. But try to find one good thing in that day. And if it's a bad day, then I try to find multiple things that went right. Whether that be, you know, I took a shower today, or I, you know, got to work 10 minutes early, or, you know, oh, I made somebody smile.
What advice does Chelsea have?
I guess don't take life too seriously. You gotta have fun. you gotta have you have to get an ice cream cone sometimes at like 3:00 in the afternoon. Like, you know, live a little bit.
And Chelsea is planning to do just that. As little by little, she accepts that she deserves to celebrate, to eat ice cream, and to just get back some of the sparkle and the shininess that she puts into the world. Thanks for listening to this episode. This podcast was created and hosted by me, Sam Heimbach. It was produced by Zachary Webb. Podcast art and website design are by Hannah Fenvez of HMF Design. Music is from Soundstripe. This podcast was funded in part by the Baton Savoie Scholarship offered through the Human Dimensions of Organizations Master's Program at the University of Texas at Austin. You can learn more about this episode and others at fostercareerexperience.com. Thank you.